Hey, my name is Sappy, and this video is going to contain major spoilers for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. So if you haven't played it for yourself, I'd recommend clicking away, but if you don't care, then welcome. So it's been about like 2.5 weeks since Suicide Squad came out. This game was made by one of my favorite companies, Rocksteady. The same company that brought us all of the Arkham games that we know and love today. And the general consensus right now is that everybody hates it. I mean, everybody has absolutely been clowning on this game ever since it came out. I mean, just look at the titles of these videos. Refund requests going to 761%. People reporting they got 100% completion the moment they loaded up the game. Constant game crashes. People absolutely angry, including myself, about the story that was given to us. But on the other hand, there is a good amount of people that actually enjoy this game, and one of those people is myself. A lot of the motivation to make this video came from seeing the comments of other videos that absolutely clowned on this game, and it made me really wonder, is Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League overhated or actually bad? To fully analyze this, I'm going to be breaking it down into 3 parts: the good, the bad, and the ugly. For those 3 categories, I'm going to be referring back to 3 main topics that I think are very key when it comes to playing and analyzing a video game: the gameplay, the story, and the fun factor. We're going to start with the good and everything that Suicide Squad gets right so far. So far, there are 4 playable characters, and they all have their own unique abilities and skill sets. They each play very differently, and they're very fun in their own way as well. So first, there's Harley Quinn that we all know. She has her infamous baseball bat as her melee weapon. To get around the city, she uses Batman's grapnel gun and his bat drone that she swings off of. It kind of reminds me of Marvel's Spider-Man's traversal, and she's kind of mixed in with Batman's traversal from the Arkham series. She kind of plays like Batman and Spider-Man, but without the glider. Then there's King Shark. He definitely fits like a heavy class playstyle. He has this giant leap where he can jump from building to building and get from place to place. He mainly uses a giant minigun as his primary fire, and he's really fun. His melee is a pair of sickles that do massive damage, and he can also do a ground pound. He's really fun as well. There's Deadshot, who's also really fun to play. He has a jetpack that you can use and just fly around to no avail. While you're using the jetpack, you can shoot at enemies from afar, or you can get up close and use your wrist guns to take out your enemies. He is super fun to play as well. If you like to shoot, then he's your guy. And finally, my favorite is definitely Boomerang. He gets around the city by throwing a boomerang that he runs or teleports to. He has boomerangs that he can throw for his melee that do pretty neat damage, and he's just a really agile class that gets around super quick, and he's super fun, probably the most fun. When it comes to the core gameplay of this game, it genuinely is fun, and there is a lot to do as well. There's a lot of mixed opinions on that, but I'm going to get more into that in the bad section of the video. Right now, I'm focusing on the good things about the gameplay. There's 2 weapons that you can carry at all times, whether that be an SMG, AR, sniper rifle. You have 3 main abilities, one being your traversal attack, another being your squad ultimate, and the last one being your suicide strike. You also have your grenades and your affliction that you can add to your melees that help take on the NPCs that you're fighting. I can always appreciate something that gives me different approaches. There's contracts that you can pick up that will yield different rewards. There's a pretty big skill tree for each character, and it's really customizable at whatever point you want. And whenever you're done that skill tree, there's then one that gets dedicated to the entire squad. You can boost your health, you can boost your damage, you can boost your damage to certain enemies. Nothing too crazy, but it works. There's a bombardment of side missions that you can do, and they are all very beneficial to the player. There are Riddler trophies, there's Riddler challenges, there's loot drones to collect. There's a lot of things to do across the map. Now we're going to shift to the good things about the story. Oh god, the story. Unfortunately, there's not many good things to say about the story, so this section is going to be really brief. Something that Suicide Squad does really correct is the fan service. Right off the bat, they play the Arkham theme that we all know and love. They show us a glimpse of Harley's old costume from the old Arkham games, which is really great homage.
Yeah, right.
You get to walk through the Hall of Justice and hear the stories and history of the Justice League and how each one of them got there.
Part of the Justice League, I'm grateful for my companions.
Because together, we are stronger than we are alone.
I'm about to bust.
I'm gonna come.
You get to walk through the Batman experience at the beginning of the game that lays out all the events of the Arkham games, and it also gives us insight to what happened to Bruce Wayne after the events of Arkham Knight. There were so many theories on what happened to him if he died, but now we finally have our answer.
They asked Batman to join the Justice League. He accepted. And so, the story of Bruce Wayne, the Batman, continues.
The game is riddled with just amazing dialogue, like Batman will hop on your comms and just start talking shit to you.
Harkness won't last much longer. Needless performance, but Harkness's boomerangs are deadly. Harkness is sociopathic, but he will be brought to heel.
They even have dialogue between each other.
Flash's death is on your head, Bruce.
Diana, I don't think I like catching up like this. I see you accessed my vault. What are you going to do with that kryptonite?
What I always do, Bruce. What's right.
But we knew there would be sacrifices.
Yeah. Well, it's about time we force some sacrifices on those insurgents.
And one of the coolest things in this game is that at certain points of the story, you can see Batman stalking you from a nearby building. It is really cool, it's really ominous, and it really paints Batman really well. And then if you try to get close to him, he just disappears. This game has a lot of bombastic moments that are just way too cool. King Shark putting on Green Lantern's ring and then firing a giant shark at the Skull ship. Superman catching a nuke and then fighting Wonder Woman through the streets of Metropolis. And what's cool about that is that you can actually see them fighting in the background as you play. Batman taking all of our characters out one by one.
This is my exit. So long.
Flash ripping Lex Luthor out the suit.
To enjoy this.
Him then ripping that same guy's heart out. Wonder Woman intervening with Flash. And the list just goes on and on. They definitely know how to give our characters some justice when it comes to delivering some action. When it comes to the fun factor of this game, I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. I'm giving it this because it genuinely is fun. There are things to do, there are things to shoot, there are things to collect, there are upgrades you can get for each character that can be customized. The traversal is unbelievably fun between all 4 characters. If you're a DC fan, there's homages and references everywhere in the game. You constantly feel like a powerhouse, but then again, that's why it's losing points as well, because I really didn't feel like there was any difficulty changes no matter what difficulty I played on. And this was Rocksteady's first time incorporating other superheroes other than Batman into their story, and they did a really good job with making each hero feel like themselves. And now we're moving into the bad section of Suicide Squad. I don't even know where to begin. Rocksteady did us so dirty. So right off the bat, a lot of people are tending to say that the gameplay is just bad, but those opinions are coming off of the strength that the story is bad. The only major complaint I've seen across the internet about the gameplay is the fact that you need to have an internet connection, the fact that it's a looting game now and that you get rewards for different difficulty missions, kinda like Destiny. Repetitive missions where you're escorting a payload or destroying incubators. And don't get me wrong, I definitely do agree. It is ridiculous that there are 5 escort missions in the story alone. Now, something I can 100% agree on that is just terrible is the story. I've really tried to keep an open mind with this one because I didn't want to have another Last of Us 2 incident where I just immediately hated the developers for what they did to Joel and the fact that we didn't kill Abby in the end. In that moment, I was missing a deeper message, but that's not even the case here. This just sucks. A collective agreement is that a lot of people aren't buying the game just because they know what happens in the story already.
Because as much of a fan as I am of Batman ever since I was a tiny little kid, this also expands to the other characters of the Justice League and why it's damn near impossible to defend the writing of a game like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And that's coming from someone who, even though has not bought the game and is not willing to support the game because of the bad writing.
I can fully understand why people are upset, but I still definitely wanted to give this game a try. And unfortunately, this is mainly happening because of the leaks that came out before the game even came out. So people knew the story before they even got to play. Safety first, I guess. But back to the main topic, we quite literally killed the Justice League. And I know that it's in the title, but this is the Arkham universe we're talking about, with the Arkham Batman that came from the Arkham games, made by the same exact developers. This wasn't a Gotham Knights situation. And not even trying to glaze Batman, this is Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and the Flash we're talking about here. And for fuck's sake, Brainiac, the enemy of the Justice League. The only one that we don't fight is Wonder Woman, and she's the only one who reasonably went out considering she was fighting Superman. It starts off with Flash, you know, the fastest man alive. He can quite literally kill us at any second, the way he did Lex Luthor, but he just doesn't. Plot armor at its finest, but hey, what are you gonna do? It's not until we get the device to defeat him that he becomes lethal and starts actually trying to attack us. Next is the Green Lantern, and the only reason they escaped from him is because the Flash intercepted him for us. They then acquire the Sinestro Core device that helps them get past all of his ring powers. Then we kill him on some very anticlimactic shit. And then Deadshot says the most cringe one-liner ever.
Nah, didn't you hear? We're out on good behavior.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on.
And it pains me to say it, but the next one up is Batman. This one definitely made me and a lot of fans angry. Especially the fact that this takes place in the Arkham universe and what we know about the Arkham Batman. How does he go out like this? So they just waltz right into his cave, and I'm pretty sure he knew that they were coming. He then uses fear toxin on them, and then they all get gassed, and then they all have to walk around the Batcave, putting canisters into the wall to dilute the gas. Throughout this entire segment, it made no sense on why he wasn't taking us out like he was in the beginning of the game, and we don't get to see or fight the real version of him at all. And then Harley mentions how she has a fear toxin that counters his fear toxin that she learned in Arkham from Scarecrow?
You think I didn't know we'd have this little reunion one day? Took me years in Arkham to get any sense out of that jabbering kookmeister Scarecrow, but I earned my degree in neurochemistry. Summa cum laude. See, you might be immune to your fear toxin, but you ain't immune to mine.
Impossible.
He then spent the next 10 minutes shooting at a big horrified version of Batman. And then the next thing, he's just on the floor, all beat up and bloodied, and that's it. And say what you want about Deadshot, but he's canonically beaten two of them on multiple occasions. In the Batman Assault on Arkham movie, great movie by the way, he literally fights the Suicide Squad that is stronger than this one, and he beats all of them. And this takes place in the Arkham universe before Asylum. 3 of the 5 people he faces here are Captain Boomerang, Harley Quinn, and Deadshot. I sound like a broken record, but I'm really not trying to glaze Batman. Considering what he's canonically done in the past, a more experienced Batman should not have lost. On top of that, he has precautions for all of the Justice League if they were to go rogue. You would think Rocksteady would treat the character that we've known and loved throughout the Arkham games very delicately in this game, but not at all. Ever since he whooped our ass in the beginning, we just go find him, but this time we actually kill him. He has precautions for the Flash. How could he not be Boomerang? He's beaten Solomon Grundy before. How could he not be King Shark? And he's beaten both Deadshot and Harley Quinn many times. Jason Todd is more deadly than all 4 of them combined. And look, this angered so many people and caused them to refund the game or not buy it at all. And the last one is Superman. We all know that his weakness is kryptonite, but in this game we get something more potent called gold kryptonite. We lure him out with Batman and then we just get to shooting him. He can literally obliterate us at any second, so I don't understand why he doesn't do that at any part of the story. He flies around like a 2-block radius, and you just shoot him and shoot him and shoot him, and then he eventually falls. I'm not that big of a Superman fan, but this makes no sense either. Well, really none of them do. There's a lot of speculation that they aren't dead and they're going to come back in future content, and there is hints to that happening around the map, especially with the Batman calendars. And then finally, we fight Brainiac, one of 13 Brainiacs, and I'll explain that more in the ugly section. So the final boss fight isn't unique at all. It's a reskin of the Flash boss fight because he takes the form of Flash. And then that's it as well. That's it. The game is over. We're suddenly immune to that thing he used to freeze us in place and the Justice League. And we killed the guy that stopped the Justice League and took over Earth. Easily. They transport him back to Earth in a small little thingy thing, and then more cringe.
Waller out.
They then say the cliche "your battle is far from over" thing.
So we get to play with a bunch of cool shit from alternate universes, and then what? Retire?
Once you've defeated all 13 Brainiacs? Yes.
You mean 12?
And then we get a roadmap. And this is where we're out of the bad, and now we're in the ugly section. I'm gonna try and stay real organized, so we'll start with the ugly part of the gameplay, and that's the loot drops and the reward system and the constant replaying of missions that progressively get harder. And you get more rewards the harder the difficulty is. Right now, me and my girlfriend have beat the game, and not either one of us is saying, hey, let's get on Suicide Squad. There's nothing to do. Well, there's a few things to do, but it's really nothing until we get any Season 1 content. But that's exactly the problem. Why are we betting on the future this hard? For a whopping $70, we're getting told that the game is going to get good in the DLC. And with the price that we paid, it just better actually be free. The reward system isn't all that good. It feels like no matter what gun I use, I'm still going to destroy anything in my path. Another major complaint throughout the internet is that the graphics are terrible. But I'm 50-50 on that, because a lot of people are comparing it to Arkham Knight. But Arkham Knight takes place in Gotham City, where the moon is shining over the city, and it's raining and it's dark and dank. This is Metropolis, the home of Superman, so it's going to be a lot more colorful and vibrant. Maybe the lighting is a little off in some areas, but you gotta admit, the character models and the animation has improved significantly since Arkham Knight. But that's what happens when you put out a game as it is, without the intention of constantly updating it versus planning on updating it in the future. Because the games can be updated and patched, it gives developers a lot of leeway to kind of just give us whatever in the moment. I'm not shitting on this completely. It is really exciting to know that we're going to get at least 10 playable characters and a whole bunch of new maps and things to do. But for $70, and me personally who spent $100, there should have been more. And now moving on to the ugly part of the story. Once we learn about Brainiac, we learn that there's 13 more versions of him.
13 Brainiacs. Even if you were to somehow defeat one, your fight is far from over.
We get to keep killing him over and over.
Why are you so fucking happy with And pretty much those 13 other versions are the 13 seasons that we're gonna get, or however many seasons we're gonna get. But my problem is, why were they incorporating the DLC into the main story so hard?
You no doubt remember there are 13 Brainiacs across the latticework of dimensions?
Mm-hmm. Kill them all, get cool shit, don't go back to Arkham.
They really express how insignificant killing one Brainiac is. So it makes the main story feel like nothing. Like they really go out of their way to let you know that there's gonna be future content. Is this why you need an internet connection to play? And even though the content does look fun and it looks like there's a lot in store for us, what about the story that we have now? What about Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, and The Flash? I bet they plan on killing them off now and then bringing them back in some way later. It is really hard not to see this any other way but then corporations wanting more money. Because of this, we didn't get a proper Brainiac boss fight. Because of this, they killed all of our characters and planned on bringing them back in future content so people come squabbling back just to see their favorite character alive again. So that they can get more money. I see it now. Because no way in hell the future content is going to be 100% free. There's going to be things that cost money. I might be completely wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. Are we going to get to fight the actual Brainiac in the last season? Since we already fought a reskinned version of the Flash, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same case for Superman, Batman, and the Green Lantern. We're just going to replay their boss fights in future DLC, and I really hope that's not the case, but that's what it looks like. So before we answer the question if Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is overhated or actually bad, we're going to do a quick wrap-up summary. So when it comes to the gameplay, it genuinely is fun. There's things to do, there are things to collect, there are things to shoot, the traversal is fun, getting around the map is fun, the graphics look amazing, there's a lot of fan service, and they give some of our characters some respect. However, the really fun gameplay does not compensate for the overwhelmingly terrible story that we have, and the promises of DLC being shoved down our throats just doesn't bode well. Why should we have to hope that the game is going to get good in the DLC? Why did they kill off a character that they've nurtured for 15 years in a way that doesn't make sense at all? Why did they collectively agree to make this live service and just milk money out of players? I blame Fortnite. Like I said, this isn't a Last of Us 2 incident. There is no deeper message, it's just really bad. And I really try to take it easy on developers because making a game is not easy and they take a lot of criticism. They delayed the game for almost an extra year to make the game good, and we thought that was great, but it turns out they didn't do shit. But there's no exception with this one. The final verdict, unfortunately, is that the game is actually bad. The gameplay is fun, the story is shit, and they're putting way too much faith in the DLC that they have in store. But that's pretty much it. If you plan on buying this game, I recommend buying it a year from now. By then, there's probably going to be a whole lot more content, and it'll actually be worth $70, or hopefully it'll be cheaper. Who knows, but if you agree or disagree, leave a comment, let me know. This is my first little video essay, so let me know if you liked it. Thanks to my brother for helping. And thanks for tuning in. See ya.